It's time for Saturday Sports Scoreboard, hosted by David Heath on Radio Italia Uno 87.6. If sport's your passion, then you're in the right place. Scores from across the globe, the country and locally. Interviews, comment, your calls and plenty of fun. So let's introduce the host of our show. Here's Heathy.
Here we've still got Ron and Karen here who are running the show for us, not only live on the radio station, but also live on the Radio Italia Uno Facebook page. If you want to go to the Facebook page and check out the live broadcast, the live telecast of the show to see how an OB is done. Well, probably not the greatest examples of OB, but
it's fine.
In a tiny little lounge room.
It's fine. Now, before you do that,
yes,
just before we need to say goodbye to Dino.
We're saying goodbye.
Hey, so Dino, thank you.
No, thank you guys. You're doing a great job and keep up the great work. And can't wait to see you back at headquarters.
Yeah, it won't be next weekend, but it will be the weekend after.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, it will be. But thanks for coming in, Dino.
No,
really. But how did you get on with Bevo? Everything all right?
Yeah, no, look, that was easy. Yeah, he played a really good role while I've been here.
Yeah, don't be too
So
good.
while you're escorting Dino to the door, for racing fans, the Victoria Derby was the big race at Flemington today. Race 6 on the program, won by Hitotsu from the Mar and Eustace stable and ridden by John Allen. So Hitotsu won the Victoria Derby at Flemington today. And in the WBBL cricket, which is also live, just a little while ago, the Melbourne Renegades defeated the Sydney Sixers by 12 runs. Our team, the Adelaide Strikers, are about to, or they have taken to the field against the Perth Scorchers. The Perth Scorchers have won the toss and they're batting, and after one ball, it's none for none in that game. And the other game that's underway in the WBBL at the moment, the Sydney Thunder taking on the Melbourne Stars. The Thunder in the 13th over, 1 for 81. Their strike rate about 6.6 at the moment. And the game tonight is Brisbane Heat, Hobart Hurricanes. Bevo, we were talking with Michael about the SNFL. We've asked you about the future of the SNFL.
Yeah, really enjoyed that chat, boys.
And look, you sort of agreed with me that one of the things that we miss are the great full forwards.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So I remember back in the day when I was a kid, when I actually had hair, I had the big mullet like Scotty Hodges, and I had the 11 on my back, and Port Adelaide Magpies legend, of course, and I was there for all the grand finals, and it was just amazing to just see Scotty in action, and not just in the SANFL, but also in the VFL and AFL. I mean, think back in the day, I remember there was that game when Geelong played against the Bombers, and Abler kicked 14 and Salmon kicked 10, and
exactly.
you know, like those are great days.
You really don't. I mean, it's rare these days to see any more than 6 kicked by a kid.
Exactly.
And the other thing is that I can also remember, you'd go down as a lifelong Glenelg supporter, you'd go down to the Bay Oval and you'd be playing Sturt or Port or Nord, and there'd be 18,000 people there.
Exactly right.
The place would be packed. The last time, I think I mentioned this to Mark on the air a couple of weeks ago, the last time I saw that at an SANFL game a few years ago, there was a Glenelg Sturt game at the Glenelg Oval, and the Crows and the Power weren't playing, and there was 11,000 people there. It was one of those, it was such a fantastic... I've been distracted by yet another legend who's arrived at my lounge room.
It's Rachel Spawn, who we can't see at this point because she's sitting out of shot.
She's out of shot.
But looks as gorgeous as ever.
Do you know, I coached
Don't touch me.
Rachel to 2 victories. There was a couple of media games, and Jan Sterling handed over the reins of the Lightning to me. And so I coached from the sidelines. We won both. So I'm 100%.
100%. You better stop there.
Be careful of that. Come over here. I mean, we're David's talking to you now off camera. Like, I don't know why he started doing that. So let's.
I just wanted to make it all about me.
No, that's right. That's right. You know what I'm like as a producer. I like things to go well.
2.5 hours into the show, and it's been all about Michael H. It's been all about Wayne Phillips.
And do you know Bevo?
Very little about me.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Everything's right there. Is everyone happy?
Yeah.
I mean, generally happy in life.
Yes. All good.
Now we can talk to Rachel. Now that we can see her.
So shall I repeat the story?
I think
100% coaching.
No, don't.
I actually scored in one of the games. I was on the sideline and Jan played, and she threw the ball to me, and I shot it and it landed. And so not only have I got a 100% coaching record but I've also scored in one of the games as well.
For heaven's sake.
Heath, you want to talk to Rach as well, because we were speaking off air about Giddy, how well he's going
Josh
at the moment.
Giddey, yes.
And you just sort of think, you see, it's so sad we're seeing what's going on with Ben Simmons at the moment. You think Giddy, 19 points a day for OKC, and we're seeing how good he's going. You feel as though, Warwick's done a fantastic job of bringing Giddy up because he's so young, and then you look at Ben Simmons and think, what's going on there? Why two young guys with so much talent so different? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I just don't think he's getting good information or advice from his management group for starters. And it is really disappointing because I guess it's only sort of come about recently though, because he has been in the NBA for a while.
Yeah.
It has just been festering, but it is so disappointing because he has so much talent. Excuse me, and I think too, he didn't make himself available for the Rio Olympics, didn't make himself available for Tokyo. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are very, very disappointed.
What is it about him? What is it about that personality, Rachel? What is that?
Look, I seriously don't have the answer for that because for me to play for my country was the ultimate.
Totally, yeah.
4 Olympics, Rach? 4?
Should have been 4. He did Barcelona. We went to 3 Olympics.
3.
It was wonderful, and I played in the WNBA, and I was devastated if I missed even a couple of games for the Opals. I remember I had to leave early to go to a WNBA training camp. And, I have to miss Opals matches.
No, I'm sorry, I'm just asking.
Do you have the same sort of feeling about Liz Cambage and what's been going on with her as well?
Yeah, no, again, really disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I think
would she have made a difference for the Opals in Tokyo?
Oh God, yeah. Being one of the best players in the world, and having that disruption a week or so before the Olympics begin.
Yeah.
You go back to if you didn't have Liz there, you might pick a different team. You might have to have more offensive scorers there because you take Liz out. So it just changed the dynamics of everything. And the Opals only had 2 games in 18 months as preparation, and then one of those games to be stopped against Nigeria because of what happened. So no, it was the worst timing for the Opals leading into.
Did you keep an eye on it? Did you watch the basketball competition at Tokyo, or we asked Charlie Wolf the same question earlier in the show?
Yeah, Charlie.
Does he watch, or is he too much of a? Did you get too passionate about it?
I commentated, so I had to watch.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you weren't tempted not to watch while you were commentating?
No, I thought I'd better. So no, even if I wasn't, I would watch every single game. I'm still very connected. And look, Sandy Rondello is one of my best mates. She's the coach now, so I have an even more invested interest in it for Sandy. And that's why I felt so much for her, because she wanted that to be an amazing experience. It's always been a goal to coach the Opals Olympics, and it came round and it was very difficult.
Have you wanted to coach?
No.
Not at all?
Why is that?
I don't know, it's just, I've been assistant coach to Taya through Forestville Juniors, and I've been involved with the Lightning Academy.
Your hair looks lovely, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You've just had it done, haven't you?
Dresses, yes.
Isn't that lovely?
She knew she was going to be on camera.
But isn't that a lovely thing? It was really.
I washed my hair for the first time in 5 weeks this morning, just in case.
It smell nice too.
Yeah. Look at David's hair. Like when I walk, because he hasn't a cut for ages. When I'm walking, yesterday, he looked like Cousin It from the Addams Family. Anyway, go on.
Can we get back to?
Sorry, go.
No,
Can you remember
about
coaching?
Why haven't you coached?
No, and I don't know, I know my limitations, I know my ceiling of what I can do, and look, I've been head coach at different times, but I find it so stressful no matter what level it is, whether it's under 10s or whether it be elite. I don't know, it's just not in my DNA to coach someone. I'm happy head coach, yes, assistant coach, that's fine for me to do, but head coach, no, I'm happy to handle.
When Mark sort of ran through the people that are going to visit my lounge room on this Saturday afternoon, thank you for popping by, he mentioned you, and I was thinking, I know what I'm going to ask Rach. If the AFLW had been around in your time when you were an active elite athlete, would you have given it a crack?
Look, I would have loved to have dabbled, and not dabbled, but I can't say though that I would not change my basketball career, because basketball is an Olympic sport and football is not. And so that's a really hard one, and because it's hypothetical, I'd probably say I would have loved to have had an opportunity. A bit like Erin Phillips, she's had a basketball career and now she's been able to finish up with AFLW, because I grew up watching football. There was
Yeah.
no women's sport to watch on TV.
And it's in your
unless-
family too.
Yeah, in my
isn't it?
family,
Yeah.
unless it was Olympics or Commonwealth Games, you didn't see women playing sport.
Mm.
So I wanted to be a boy, so I could play football like Kieran, my brother, and Dad.
I see Kieran quite often actually.
Yeah.
I live in the same area where
Okay.
we, anyway, yeah. That's by the way.
So no, and I would have, we only played a little bit of football at school, and I loved it. I would have been tall back then, probably in the ruck or whatever. But yeah, I would have loved to have given it a go for sure.
Did you play footy with the guys with the family?
Oh,
Like,
look,
in the backyard?
of course,
Yeah.
yeah. No, if I wanted Kieran to play with me, I had to do boys.
Did you feel as though you'd be okay at it back then?
Yeah, I'm a left footer. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did a lot. Kick the ball a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, it would have been nice to. Yeah, no, definitely grow up playing the game.
And Rach, can I ask you a question as well about the NBL versus the NBA? Because obviously we spoke about Kitty before. We're seeing all these guys that are now playing in the NBL and developing their skills and experience and then going into the NBA. So do you sort of feel as though you cover it for the ABC, you do a wonderful job of that? Do you sort of feel as though the competition's getting stronger and getting that little bit closer to the NBA, the NBL over recent years?
Well, they keep saying it's probably the best league outside the NBA, don't they? I'm sure Europe probably doesn't agree with that, but I definitely, when you see the number of Australian men now in the NBA, it's fantastic because it only used to be one or two, but now it's getting up to both of our hands filling it up. So I think so, and then because we attract Josh Giddey to play an extra season in the NBL, don't go to college, and now get drafted like that. And because he was playing with men, last year I think it hasn't been as hard to adapt to in his first year in the NBA, and he's doing a great job.
And LaMelo Ball as well. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, well he has. So it's great that the NBL's attracting these young stars.
Look at you guys
and
go.
then we're developing
Just
them.
completely ignoring us now.
You
It's like a party I went to many years ago. I developed a real sort of a complex.
and I might go back and have a coffee.
Yeah. Do you two want to get a room? Hey, throw to the break because we've got to sort out Scotty.
Yeah, Ron wants us to go to a break.
Recently.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
We are going to a break. This is the Saturday afternoon sports scoreboard program on Radio Italia Uno 87.6 FM.
So she played since under 10s at Forestville, and now she's 19 and plays under 23. So my son Cade refused. I think because he was dragged out. The sport is different to watch his sister play and never really watched.
So what's Cade do?
He's footy.
Oh,
He plays
he's
at
played
Foss
good.
and school at Scotch, and he's just started volleyball, which is really
That's
enjoyable.
wonderful.
So he's just the same height as me. He's just got me.
And how tall's your daughter?
She's up to my nose.
Up to your
so
nose.
5'9.5".
Wow.
But that's short in our world.
It is, yeah. Wow.
Rachel's involved in one of the funniest things I've seen on a basketball court. It was one of those games that. It was one of those media games that I was coaching, the Lightning, and I did that successfully twice. And
Show's been a lot about him, I can tell you.
Graham Corn's playing in the media team.
Yeah.
And he thought
that's funny enough.
Yeah.
He was a smart aleck. He thought he'd take Rach on. I don't know whether you remember this. He thought he'd take Rach on, about the same height, and he's taken her on under the basket and come off. Never mind second best. He's come off third.
Oh
best.
dear!
He's landed on the floor because he's just bumped into her and bounced straight off.
See, my memory is getting so bad. I can't remember that, but I'll take that all day.
Were you a hard player? I mean, I should know that because I did. No. What I mean is, I did a lot of stuff with you. Obviously,
You did.
a lot of interviews. But how would you?
Let me answer that. She was the best in the world at the time, without doubt.
Thank you. Would you like to
be
answer
generous
it?
here.
We've got David answering it.
It's funny because growing up in the country, that we didn't play a physical game of basketball. You just played zone. You didn't play man on man. You didn't really touch each other. So moving to the city was such an eye opener for me because I had to harden up because I was, probably taking it a little bit too personally if someone did, elbow me or whatever, and I not retaliate, but learn to get tougher yourself and stronger, and obviously more experience, and then you get in the weight room, and that'll come. And it's certainly having Jan Sterling as a coach helped toughen me up as well.
Yeah.
So that was her expectation.
We forget that in that 90s period, you guys won 4 championships in 5 years. Phil's 36ers won 3. There was that 1998 time, you would have been in the parade in 1998 when the Crows had won, and the Thunderbirds had won
Yeah.
as well. The 4 Adelaide
And we only got a
teams.
ticker tape parade because the Crows won.
We were Title Town. There was
What did you say?
200,000
What?
people.
We only got a ticker tape parade
But
or included
we-
because the Crows won.
We basketball fans in this state during that sort of mid 90s to late 90s period were blessed because not only did we have championship winning teams, we quite arguably had 2 of the best coaches in the world coaching both teams, and we had amongst the best players in the world. I mean, I'm not simply because she's sitting here on my couch. I'm not simply saying that Rach was the best in the world. She was at the time, and you won a world championship. You won Olympic silver. You won championships with the Lightning. I mean, the record says it all.
Yeah, no, I agree that the 90s were fabulous. I remember you had to book 3 months in advance to get a ticket.
Yep.
Because we were playing double headers
Yep.
with the 36ers, and it was wonderful, wonderful times.
Yep.
And that is when they actually changed. It was 98 to 99 when they actually went
Changed
from
the
winter to
seasons.
summer, and I wish
That's
they'd
right,
never
yeah.
done that.
But
Yeah.
the club tended to struggle financially all the way through this too, which was ironic.
Yeah, well, Jan was always chasing
She
sponsorship,
was.
and we were lucky to have,
was.
Fairmont Homes and Health SA, or
Yeah.
so Adelaide Quick
Jan and
Light.
Margie would
Yeah.
wash the singlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we had great support and everything, but yeah, you weren't earning much money, but that's just how it was. You played for the love of the game. And
What are you up to these days?
Yeah.
So I work for Sport Integrity Australia.
Yep.
We're ASADA, Australian Sports Anti-Doping. So I'm a clean sport educator.
Okay.
So I speak to elite athletes about anti-doping.
Yep.
And I'm also employed by the Australian Olympic Committee with the Olympics Unleashed program, which
Okay.
goes out to schools year 4 to 7 and
Yep.
you chat to kids about your Olympic journey. And it's basically finding something that they love and are passionate about, and setting a goal to achieve that. It doesn't have to be sport.
What's it like being an elite athlete in your chosen sport at the Olympic Games, in the Olympic Village, with, Carl Lewis or whoever it might be walking past you or bumping into him in the cafeteria? What's that? Do you have really great memories of not only the games that you played, but just the life of the Olympic Games?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I love that I've been able to go as an athlete and a commentator.
Yeah.
So as an athlete, the absolute pinnacle, and it's amazing because you're right, you've got all these famous athletes walking around you and you have to regard them as your peers and not be too distracted by what's going around you as well. So it's just wonderful because you have 8 games to play. And you have to stay very focused with basketball because the swimmers finish in the first week and then they party, whereas we're all the way through every second day. But it's just fabulous. It's amazing, and I feel very blessed that I was part of a home Olympics because every member of my immediate family could afford to come.
Yes.
Whereas when you're offshore Olympics, Tokyo is different because no one was allowed to go. It's so expensive for any member of your family. So Sydney was incredibly special for that, to share it with your family, and that's why Brisbane. It's going to be amazing in 2032.
Rach, I remember speaking with you on my Legends of Bevo podcast. Would have been a few months ago now, and you told a really interesting story about there was 9 McDonald's at Atlanta as well. That'd be unbelievable.
In the Olympic Village, and because McDonald's obviously is a big sponsor of the Olympic Games, but in Atlanta they just went over the top. And they had 9 outlets in the Olympic Village. And you're trying to be really good as an elite athlete, and the temptation was just everywhere. So now in Sydney they had 2, but from then on it's just been 1, and it's in the dining hall. Yeah, so just crazy stuff.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but it's that sponsorship though. That's what it
Yeah,
gets you.
well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
If you had to look back, this is probably a corny question, and so cliched, but if you look back on your career and what you've achieved, is there anything that you'd change? Is there anything that you do slightly differently?
When I first moved to Adelaide in '86, I was homesick. Even though it was only 2.5-hour drive from Murrayville to Adelaide. And in '87, the Australian Institute of Sport invited me to go and spend a year there. But my coach at the time wasn't a supporter of the AIS, and I was like, I don't know if I could go to Canberra. I'd be even more homesick. I do regret potentially just having a year honing my skills, which I think, because I was so raw, I had so much to learn. I think I would have maybe wished I'd done that just for 1 year.
Do you still have family at Murrayville?
Yeah, 2 uncles.
And when was the
still
last time you got over there to see
Well,
them?
do you know, I was very lucky because on my birthday this year, I went to Murrayville because went on to Iron to visit my grandma, but I picked out my cemetery plot in the Murray Cemetery. I know this sounds
we
really
don't want to
weird.
hear that.
No, but I had
She's
to.
always been very
That's
practical.
50, 60 years away.
She's always been very practical.
But it became down to necessity.
She planned her own birth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that all went well.
Because when we buried Grandma and Granddad, we didn't think about it very much. We put them on the end of a row so that we couldn't be near them.
Yeah.
So we've booked 5 plots that will now be sort of at their feet and start a new row. So it was a matter of necessity, Heathy. So I've done that. And then we continued on to Oyen because my grandma's 99. She's going to be 100 on December 1. And I hadn't seen Grandma for probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So my sister, Hannah, came from Waikerie, and Mum and my other sister from Ballarat, and we all met in Oyen, and it was wonderful. So we had to wear masks. We were allowed to see Grandma outside under the rotunda, but it was one of the best birthdays I've had. It was really nice.
So what's on the wish list for when borders are reopened and we can travel again and life is a little bit like it was normally?
Yeah.
What's on the top of the wish list?
Well, I don't have. It's funny. I don't have international. I loved international travel before, but I don't really have that on the top of my. I'd rather just navigate Australia more because I think that we need to support Australia anyway. But to see Dad, I was commentating in Melbourne for 3 weeks, and Dad lives in Melbourne, and I couldn't even see him because we had to stay in a media hub and not have any visitors.
Yes, because you did the Olympic coverage from Melbourne.
Melbourne in
pretty
a
much
booth,
calling it
on
off
the remote
TVs,
broadcasting centre, and then Dad had his hip replaced while I was there, so I couldn't even visit him on the way home.
What was that planned, or did he just that once he got there he thought this is a great place to be?
No, he's been in Melbourne for years.
Oh, I don't know. It's a nice area. Might have my hip replaced.
Is it time for a break, Rob?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, do you think I trust
You
the
do it.
you want me to actually we'll get Rachel to do
Well,
it.
she can do it,
Saturday Sports
absolutely.
Scoreboard. You're watching Saturday at Heathy's Lounge. We'll be back soon. Just something
Okay,
like that.
you're watching Saturday Sports Scoreboard in Heathy's Lounge, and we'll be back
Such
in a
that it
moment.
is.
That's great. We'll all talk over one another.
What a pro.
But this is all of you here, and Ron and Karen are here, and Bevo's here, and Rach is here, and you're here. This is the largest number of people, human beings, I've seen outside of medical staff for about 3 months.
I rang David a month ago, and he said to me, "Is there still humanity on the planet?"
Oh, I had no idea.
He had no
'Cause
idea.
That's all of the earth that I can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever's blue car is parked across
Yeah.
there, I can see that nice and clearly. But I've had Mum and Dad have been great. My sister, a couple of good friends. But basically, this is the largest number of human beings I've had spent time with, and I'm blessed because everyone that's been here today. I mean, imagine starting off the show in my lounge room with Charlie Walsh. And finishing with Rachel Spall.
And Bevo.
I mean, I can, and Bevo. Well, you know,
That was awkward.
But
I felt the awkwardness there.
And when you've got,
Right,
Wayne Phillips and Michael H in between, I mean, I can happily retire from radio now.
Well, I tried to get
I've achieved everything I wanted to.
I tried to get Rebecca Morsong,
I know.
but she didn't get back to me. Like,
Well-
I worked with her for 10 years, she doesn't get back to me.
Well, there you
Sure,
go.
she's
Yeah.
with another radio station, I understand that.
It's a fair stitch up there,
Disappointing.
Heathy. Putting me on after Aishi and then Rach after me. Like, let's be honest, I've got nothing. I'm down here
No,
because of
you're-
those
Well,
guys.
well, when I spoke to you,
were
you
as
said that
welcome
you
as
wanted,
everybody.
and you said you wanted to be on before those losers. I mean, I don't know what you meant. I don't know what you meant by that. You know, I mean, was Michael that good? You said to me. You know, I mean, was Wayne that good a batsman? You know,
He'll tell you he is.
yeah, mate, it was hilarious when Wayne was
How many
in there.
WNBL games did you play in the end?
377.
377 and four championships.
5. I won
5
with
championships.
North Adelaide.
Of course, yes, because when you first came over, you played for North Adelaide.
Well, Westies and then North, because Lightning wasn't here until
That's right,
93.
exactly,
Lightning wasn't formed
exactly,
until 93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And best and fairest?
2 for the WNBL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the American experience like playing in the WNBA?
brilliant. Well, it was just so nice being a professional athlete for that period, not
Yeah.
having to work, and getting paid okay money. Like everyone thinks,
Yeah.
play the WNBA, you're rich, but I mean, I was drafted at number 14, and my salary was 37,500.
Yeah.
When was that? Back when?
That was 98.
So what would that be worth now? That salary?
Well, the minimum is still only 40.
Okay.
Like you come in, and if you're a rookie first year, you're on 40.
Is that
It
right?
has not changed
Oh, okay.
hardly at all.
Yeah.
And that's so that they still exist. They haven't, girls, you can't negotiate your contract, you're told what it is. So that's why so many girls play in Europe, because that's where you make more money than the WNBA, but obviously the NBA is
Was Sandy your coach in the WNBA?
No. Nancy, Lieberman and Klein. Sandy didn't start coaching as head coach until 2013, I think.
Okay,
And my last year was 2001, and I got pregnant with Taya.
Yep.
Rachel, I wanted to ask you as well, but we're speaking about this earlier on, but do you feel as though if Liz Cambage had actually played for the Opals, we would have actually, been really amongst those medal chances?
Oh, well, definitely. Because 2018, we won silver at the World Cup, and obviously Liz was at that tournament, and we were coming in as ranked second in the world. So Liz just, if you take the best player out, one of the best players in the world is 6'9" out of your team, and in Rio she averaged 24 points and 12 rebounds. So you're taking that out, and no one collectively they had to make that up, but it didn't really happen. They were, Sandy had to find a group of 5 that could get it done, and it was hard work.
Yeah.
So I really do think we would have been in the middle rounds, would have made the top 4 if she'd been there.
Do you think Paris, that they can actually mend obviously these broken bones, so to speak?
Well, that remains to be seen, because it's the tribunal's happening at the moment as we speak, a hearing. So we'll have to wait as to what the outcome is of that, as to whether she'll be with the Opals.
Will you get yourself involved perhaps through the Olympic movement for Brisbane?
Oh, well, we're a bit older then, but it'd be nice. Look, it'd be pretty amazing if they could. If they find
It's
roles.
only 10 years away. When you think about it.
It'll go quick.
It will go quick.
We'll pack up here afterwards, seriously, and we'll walk out there, and Brisbane.
And it'll be here.
We'll walk into the opening ceremony.
We'll load it into the back of Rachel's car. We'll drive up to Brisbane, and we'll be ready.
Well, seriously, we need to think about that.
We do. I know. We need to book our accommodation now, most probably. But no, look, any Olympian would be loved to be involved with the home Olympics. But there's many before me though that I think would get in front.
Do you feel comfortable just briefly telling? And actually, we've only got a couple of minutes, but just briefly telling the story about just how sort of tricky and difficult it was for you after the 2000 Olympics.
Yeah, I think
2000.
Yeah, 2000.
2000. Yeah.
Well, it mainly started because I was playing in the WNBA and I did my ACL. I pretty much wrecked my knee 13 months out from Sydney. So I was flown straight from Detroit to Melbourne. Dr. David Young put me back together, and thank God he's a brilliant surgeon, because I needed someone brilliant. And then I had amazing support, because normally you're out 12 months minimum, but we didn't have that time. The team was going to be selected in 9 months. So I worked so hard to get back for it, and then I made the team. I was there. Unfortunately, our physio Jill Cook was ill with bacterial sinusitis. They didn't isolate her. I got it. So I was put in isolation for 4 days. I missed the quarterfinals, and I just wanted those 17 days to be perfect. And in my mind, they weren't. And even though we still won a silver medal, I was back for the semi-final and gold medal game. But I actually, I just had no motivation for the WNBL after those games, and I had post-Olympic depression, POD. I didn't even know there was a word for it, but there is.
And you're okay. You're
So
okay.
I went to see a sports psych, and they got me to look at the wonderful positive things about the Sydney Olympics, not the negatives.
Which is a wonderful way.
Yeah, so I turned it around and then found the love of basketball here.
We are so pleased that you're able to come.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yes, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for
And
inviting me.
Bevo, you too, mate.
And Bevo.
Thank you.
What was his
Really.
name? Bevo, that's right.
Bevo. Bevan Jones, plug your podcast quickly.
Legends with Bevo.
Okay,
Yeah,
lovely.
thank
You want to get Rachel?
I've been on that.
Okay,
I've
lovely.
Been on a couple
been
times.
on
We
it.
haven't. I haven't been on
No, it's
Bevo.
interesting, different, I know.
Obviously, I'm not a legend.
But that's fine. I mean, I can understand. Obviously, there's a lot to go through before you get to me.
And
Do
me.
you want to thank everyone?
Thank you to, we had Charlie Walsh, we had Wayne Phillips, we had Michael Age talking about his fabulous footy academy.
Yeah.
We've had the wonderful Rachel Spawn, we've had Bevan Jones.
Wonderful.
We've had Ron and Karen here from Radio Italia Uno and Podcast City.
Thank you.
Doing all the heavy lifting and
Dino.
hard work for us.
And
We've had Dino Mussolino, the president of the radio station here.
How long, Ron?
Goodness.
How long?
You've got about
Just need to
15
keep-
seconds.
I think
There
we've
you
been broadcasting about 5 days with that number of people. We had Mark Aston here.
Doing live.
It's been a lot of fun.
Mark
It really
Aston
has been-
doing live producing.
We must do this again sometime. After you. Go on.
Okay. No, that's fine. So thank you, David. That's excellent work. And we will now look forward to your company this time next week.
Now
Really
just
looking
pack
forward to
up
that.
the gear and get out
Pack up
and
the
leave me
gear.
alone.
Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Bye for now.